Very welcome to all my esteemed panel members and the dear students and the ladies and gentlemen who have gathered here for this, I would say, an engaging session. A reason why we have academicians, we have people who are seeing legal education to something that we are. And I'll take it with the topic itself, which is evolving legal education. And are we on the right course? Now, are we on the right course ends with a question mark. And I guess we all have been seeing, coming from a family of lawyers, I generally say I'm a fifth generation lawyer who's not lawyering but is into the academic side. And I lightly say that my blood group is LLB positive. Now, I have seen the legal education evolving right in my family. It was a 2-year course, to a 3-year course, to what a 5-year course, and now what on not. To see and I'll borrow what the former Chief Justice, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud said in his opening remark morning, that according to the land Indian thing, it's an autonomous domain all it's together. But when we are coming with a 5-year integrated program, we see that the inclination of BA with LLB, the BBA with LLB, the BCom with LLB, the likes of BSc with LLB, and the newer and the very format of BTech LLB coming into a head. Now, my first question goes with Major General Nilen sir, that when we see from moving of black and white as what the law was stated, to teaching it in the educational institutions, sir, do you feel that the evolvement of law as we see, and nowadays there's a big change as well, that the law is being changed, do you feel that the jurisprudence and the basics of changing of law is affecting the law school with the teaching dynamics of it? And there has been a debate that the practical side of what is being taught at the law school is way too different to what it is being practiced. So your take on that, please.
Now, friends, I'm very happy to be here, and the moderator has set the right pace by flagging the most relevant issue. I would like to put across before you that law is a professional, it's a clinical subject. Nobody studies law, I'm making a very sweeping statement, just for the heck of it. You don't pick up a law book that today, okay, I'm getting bored, so let me study Income Tax Act or the law of tort just to pass time. So you enroll in a law college for a 3-year or 5 years program primarily to take up law as a professional subject in a clinical mode. And most of it relates to litigation, as it is obvious that legal education is controlled by the Bar Council of India. And in litigation, what is the aim, what's the object, task of a lawyer? There could be number of definitions, there could be number of ways to look at it. But according to me, the aim of a lawyer is to get an advantage to his client or to keep him away from a disadvantage. Whether it is civil, whether it is taxation, whether it is criminal law, whatever. Aim is to get an advantage to the client or keep him away from the gallows or keep him away from a disadvantage. Now, viewed from that perspective, the legal education has to be clinical in nature. The student, right in the first lecture, when he attends the law of tort or law of crime or taxation, whatever, has to be clear, has to be told or has to understand as to why should he study, say, cyber law. And the faculty has to be prepared to explain to him or her the answer for this. Now, the Vidhi Utsav has designed this session. I think it is a very imaginative and a very useful session. So, what are the advantages? Where does the legal education that we are confronted with in this session stand today? I will tell you the positive side first, and then we will look at some of the challenges. And the positive side is that now the legal education is a 3 years or a 5 years degree, and as it was said that the third generation reform in legal education, the start of 5 years degree has brought in a little more clarity and focus in legal education. Most of the students who come in 5 years, say after +2, they are those who would want to make a career in law, whether they are from the first generation lawyers or they are from a law family. Most of them, I'm using that word. The second thing is that advent of national law schools, starting with Bangalore, and then we have now one in every state. Some states have more than one. They brought in a little more professionalism and serious approach to law teaching, which was not there till then. There have been some innovative trials. Say, for example, we are here and say Oak Bridge, the organizers of this Vidhi Utsav, a number of years back, one of my books, I gave the manuscript to them, and they came up with the idea that it should have an audio content. Frankly, till then I had not heard, I was not aware of an audio content of a printed book. But I was able to quickly catch on, and a book relating to law, I said, the law students don't get an opportunity to visit a constitutional court. Except, say, for those from Delhi, you don't get to go to a high court or Supreme Court. And therefore, how should you argue, how should you put across a case before a judge? You are not aware. Your faculty is also not able to help in a meaningful manner, because most of the faculty themselves have not practiced before a constitutional court. And therefore, we inserted in this book, included in its contents, a portion where some of the practitioners with busy practice in High Court or Supreme Court, they were speaking on constitutional issues in a manner where you can watch as to how a matter should be put across a court, what should be your tone, what should be the language used, what should be the pauses, how do you refer to a case law, and the like. Now, these things are possible now. And when a beginning has been made, sooner or later it may become a trend. More books of that nature may come. It is happening now. Another very useful thing which has happened now in legal education is the internship. Now, internship does tremendous good to the law students, because it is during internship that you watch the law being applied. The application of law, the practice of law, you don't learn in a classroom or in a legal aid clinic. That you only learn when you are there as an intern. And students who go for internship, they have this advantage. But then, care has to be taken that the internship must be aligned with your career aspirations. And while I am at it, I'll take a couple of minutes, do tell me when my time is over. The most important part is that when a student enters the first semester of a 5-year or 3-year law course, that you got to decide what you want to do with your life. You may say, अभी तो मुझे पता नहीं, मैं first generation lawyer हूँ, let me study. Well, you can study, but then you lose out the time. And I give the advantage of Sachin always. By the time he was 7, Tendulkar decided that he would be a cricketer, and in cricketer a batsman. So he was able to single-handedly, in a focused manner, devote his attention to picking up cricket. And therefore, you got to decide whether you want to go into law practice, you want to go in judiciary, you want to be a law teacher, you want to be an author, you want to be a crime reporter. What do you want to do with your life? And internship has to be aligned with your career aspirations. In case you want to do CS, or CA along with law, then don't waste time unnecessarily going and doing, say, internship with National Commission for Women or with the, say, Tihar jail. So therefore, look at your career goal. An internship where you learn how to apply law must be aligned. After all, you get only those 5 years, 10 opportunities. Therefore, the term break, whether it is 2 weeks after the winter vacation or 6 weeks after the summer vacation, must be utilized for internship. If you let go of that opportunity, well, you will have to pay a heavy price, and maybe that when you are in law practice, you would remain without brief and you will have to spend time. You got to put in so many man hours, human hours. And therefore, this is something which I would expect the students and their faculty to work on. It is also important that each law course that you run, that you attend, say, for 10 semesters. First you have some non-law subjects, whether political science, sociology, history, economics, whatever, and then the law subjects, law courses also start. Each of those courses must be understood, must be learned and assimilated, grasped with a professional mind. And some basic you got to learn. Say, for example, if you've studied, say, law of crime, so you should know the ingredients, say, of theft, right? Or a misappropriation, that you will be able to undertake prosecution or defense of a person charged with theft or criminal misappropriation. You should be, if you have studied contract law, get a simple contract. Maybe somebody attending in charge of given a contract, whether in writing or verbal, for catering job in your sister's marriage. How is that contract to be assimilated? What are the terms? When you can say that the contract has been breached. Now, unless the faculty has taught you and you have understood that law subject in that clinical mode, you would find it extremely difficult, because the law language is quite complex and technical in nature. And I can go on and on this, but
Thank
I
you.
have my worthy colleagues here, so I cannot intrude upon their time. In case if there is some time left for questions, I'll be happy to take them on. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for highlighting that the requirement of theoretical plus practical in the forms of internship, and how the roles of the law schools comes into. And I guess that is somewhere giving me the way for my second question, which I'm directing to Professor Vijay, sir. So we come across with the law school teachings, and earlier it was an evening school. It was more of a rote memorization of notes compared with the case laws and others. How do you feel, and what are the steps that we at law schools nowadays can take in order to cope up with the requirement which is there? So this not also includes the library converting into e-libraries, the advantages of certifications and additional certifications apart from the courses, and something more. So please, if you can just highlight something on that part.
Thank you, Professor Devanshu, for that question. And our senior, Major Nilendra Kumar, he has already pointed out the steps, how you need to think about your law school journey and how it has to be planned in advance, including your internship plan and how you will, prosper with having a focused internship plan. I must tell you, having an internship into a different areas is also a beneficial thing. But if you have focused internship, definitely that is going a long way. But what I am observing over the years is that a lot of retention capacity of students is going away. So probably the reading habit of students is missing, and they want to quickly grab the headlines, and then they want to move ahead with that. Small videos they want to, go through, and then they think that they have done their job. Probably this is something which is a problematic situation. I agree with the proposition that, okay, you should take help of those videos and reels which are available, But at the same time, there is nothing like preparing your own notes, like reading the original judgments. This is something which I find there is a vacuum. So everything was not bad in the older generation, and there is something which they have picked up and brought up. The earlier session, you had an interesting quiz. That is a new model of teaching where you involve the students with leaderboard, you involve the students with a quiz. This is something which teachers should involve and include, because that is something which keeps you, engaged as the new generation, because they are hooked to the electronic medium and they want to be engaged into it. So it is no more a session. So I believe the teachers should stop making the notes, but students should start making the notes. Previously, the teacher used to make notes and teach that for years and years. That is not going to happen. They have to now innovate, come up with new models of making reels probably. And some teachers are doing it. You see the content. Teachers are dancing and teaching somewhere. I know I don't want to that particular extreme, but still you need to have innovation to engage the youth of today. But there is a lot of responsibility on youth to read original judgments, original text, because that is what is going to go a long way. This is what is my view initially. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the importance of the original judgments. And this is an urge to all my young minds out here. I am a generation earlier than you, and I would not say that these two are old or elder than me, but yes, certainly experience. And I have seen their journey. So today, if Major Nilendra is there, I urge each one of you to see how well that he has come out with his podcast channel on YouTube, which is not only highlighting one or the other integral aspects, but as well as, and that leads me to the third question to my panelists out here. Neera ma'am, the area that the students nowadays see, it's not merely confined to a course, which is a 3-year LLB or a 5-year BLLB honors or a BBLLB honors. Today's world is more of what extra that I can have as a student. And I am borrowing it from what Professor Vijay sir said rightly, that it's also about we as teachers. So today, and the previous session on mediation, I guess, is the biggest example on the same as well. A new evolving law altogether, which was not a subject which I guess when Jonathan sir was taking it up or when I was taking my BLLB honors as well. But certainly today, with the expertise and how the things are being coming onto. So Neera ma'am, if you can guide that how the young minds should be carelessly, not, but carefully, taking and choosing the right paths and to take that thing ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Divanshu. I would say traditionally when somebody is doing law, it always been like he is going to be a litigator. But now the time has changed. Litigation is just one aspect of the law. When you are studying law, it is not necessarily that you need to go to the court and fight a case. There are other avenues are available. You can go into the corporate law. You can be a contract writer. You can be into documentation, or you're doing just research. And at the same time, there is a legal tech is there. Now, artificial intelligence is coming in the law. So there are a lot of different avenues which are available now within the framework of law courses. And if you see, even in the national education policy also, Honorable Prime Minister has very clearly said that there should be more curriculum towards in the law curriculum also, like the cyber law should be included, mediation should be included as the compulsory, and few law colleges are doing that also. But there is a lot of disparity, like national law schools and the premium institutes, they are doing all these, they are catering the student all these needs. But if we go to the B-town colleges or C-town colleges, all these facilities are not available. So we need to work in the legal tech in which the B-town, C-town students also get that kind of exposure. At the same time, I have seen, I was doing one course with the National Law School, Delhi. It was on the startups. So what are the compliances, what are the regulations, what are the facilities which is given by the government for the startups. And there I have seen in that course, the few students, they were so much into law at the same time. They have so much innovative ideas which they want to do after completing law. It is not a purely law. It was a combination of law, tech, artificial intelligence, and they are creating their own platforms. And they are like, in the next 1 or 2 years, we are going to come to the market for the like funding also. So this is what is happening in the law schools and the law students, what they are doing. And when we were doing law, it was like only a theoretical part and there was no practical. And we used to run like once we started practicing in court, then we actually understood the law. But now, at the same time, I would say there still need a balance between the theory and the practical. Just the practical is not going to help you. If you are doing 20 internships in your law course, that is not going to help you if you not read the book. You can apply the law if you know the law. If you are doing like, you are using chat GTP, you are using Google, they all can give you the information. They can't give you the knowledge. To have the knowledge, you need to read. And I would say each one of you who are sitting here in this room that don't leave the habit of reading. If you read the book, then only you will have the knowledge. Then only you will apply the right principle at the right time. This artificial intelligence is here to facilitate us. That is shorten the time that we don't waste on the time, lot of time on going here and there and finding the things. We can find the things easily, but we will apply with our own mind. So that is not going to help you. They are not going to work for you. That is only to facilitate and make your things less time consuming. So technology is always there to facilitate you. That is not going to work for you as far as the law field is concerned. And at the same time, I have seen like I am doing one course of the arbitration with the Maharashtra Law School also, National Law School also. There they are teaching, they are doing an evening course for the existing lawyers who are practicing the courts, and they are very keen to understand what are the smart contracts, what is blockchain. Like when I do that course, like I have also I have done my law in a very traditional way. But as the law progresses, I also progressed. I also read what is a smart contract, how the blockchain work. So it is like regular reading and regular enhancement of your skills that will make you successful today. It is not only, you are not only going to the platforms and doing the research and getting the work done. That is very, I would say, is a shortcut. But that is not going to help you in a long term. And at the same time, I've seen online, there are a lot of courses available online. But be mindful when you are choosing those courses. Those courses are only help you in getting you the jobs or whatever you want to do with those courses if it is certified by the Bar Council of India. Otherwise, there are a lot of people who are making fool of students and doing the crash courses that is not going to add the value in your, as far as your education is concerned, certification point of view. Yes, they may be helpful for your knowledge. I don't know how knowledgeable they are, because they are also there in the market to mint money. So you need to be very careful when you are choosing the courses. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I guess from the 3 questions that I posed to my respected panel out here, the 3 basic words that I can borrow, and in the reverse order I'll follow. First, no shortcuts when you are at the law school. I'll come to Vijay sir's answer, which highly has come down to my next question towards, which I'll be posing him for, is, so the advent of research is not only limited to the law teachers at the law school or the law education institutions, but also nowadays have become an integral part of what Nilen sir also rightly mentioned, that it is how a law student should see the internships at the right time, and the answer to that choosing right domain. So how do you see research for law students as a part of law education that we are bringing about?
I think research forms the base for a law student. So if we look at what kind of skills is required nowadays for a lawyer to practice, or as a professional, there are 2 basic skills which any professional wants, right? And it is a lifelong learning skill, and probably every time we improve on it. One is the oral skill, that how do you speak, and second one is your writing skill. And to have an effective oral and writing skill, research forms the base. If you are not researching, if you are not well read enough, you will not carry on thoughts. You will not have thoughts to express them. And hence, research forms a very important base. Now comes the question that whether you do the research without understanding the methodology or how do you go about the research is something which needs to be focused by law students nowadays. Because if you are not following a particular methodology, your research will not give you results as you want, right? So one thing which I find is now in the papers which the students are writing, it is mostly an exploratory research. So they are just trying to explore an area and collate something from few articles and bringing it down. Now this is something which is good to begin with, but if you don't have a problem statement, if you don't have a question which you are examining, probably your research will not go further. So it is very important to bring that question forward. Like say for example, if I take input from the Honorable Justice Chandrachud's address, he was talking about diversity, right? And inclusiveness. So this is an area which needs to be explored. If you take that particular question as a question and see that there are different courts in and around Delhi and probably in your own institutions, you find how much diversity focus is of that particular administration or whether there is a focus by the people who are practicing in this area or not. And then you bring that question and then explore and then probably write something on that. So I believe this is a very important area. I am quite happy to see different blogs in which the students are writing. And I must tell you, sometimes student writings are better than the faculty writings. And we get inspired by those particular writings. So definitely the students are doing good, but a lot of them need to have that particular focus. Neera madam talked about, different towns, and that people who are privileged to have access to many things. Like for example, we are having a privilege of having an access to so many judges and everything, thanks to Oakbridge, who has given this particular platform. But I remember coming from a B town, I was in Nagpur, we didn't used to get this much of an opportunity. Nowadays you have this particular opportunity because it is online. We could not fathom to hear a constitutional bench hearing in those particular days. It was once a year we used to have the moot court competition where a Supreme Court judge will come and we used to see them face to face. This was the time. But now you have the access to best of the courses in an online mode. I would just refer to one of the YouTube channel which Sir runs, and he interviews top-notch people who's who in the field, and you are able to hear their views live. Alias Nariman, Soli Sorabji, and these people got recorded. So students are having a wealth of information nowadays to do research, and I believe research forms the core of your existence probably. And you need to nurture that, time and again. So this is something which is non-compromisable, non-negotiable. So it should be at the base. Research is at the base.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And just to club sir's answer and to conclude it up is, you read well to write well. And what you're writing should always pose a question, not only for you, for your next research, but also for your audience. And this brings me to a question. I guess this is something which the Western legal education is known for. And it's something that I'm coming back to Nilen sir for that. So you see that there is the legal education in the Indian scenario to the legal education in the Western. And the reason I'm posing this question mainly to you, you have seen the Western countries, like that's of the Harvards and the Oxfords, the research or the classroom teaching at the law is not a rote teaching where a teacher comes and teach and moves away. We have this facility, and I'll just urge, adding to what Sir said, it's not merely about the channels that we have access onto. We have podcasts from various other Western law schools. Nilen sir, how do you see that when the Western or the global, is Indian legal education at par to the global legal education? And if not, what shall be the steps taken to move to that particular idea as well?
Now, thanks. That's something quite interesting and challenging. I'll like to respond. Firstly, that approach while learning, it is important that two of my fellow panelists have said that you got to have the basic knowledge of the subject. Now this basic knowledge also I would divide in three parts: must know, should know, and could know. I'll say again, must know, should know, and could know. So you have to divide the curriculum that has been taught you in those, whether it's a 2-credit course, 3-credit course, 4 into this, and it is expected that this part of must know, there's no getting away, you got to know this. Number 2, coming to research, and then I go to the global, the aspect of it. Now in the research, it is expected, there is no getting away if India is to become the 3rd largest economy and a world power, that you start with, say, SCC online right in the beginning. So before you go to a research question and a research methodology, you must know as to what are the judgments relating to that. And there's no getting away. What I used to do was invite SCC online people and speak to my first semester students on research, legal search by these search engines like SCC online. That is another thing. The third thing is that while there are certain compulsory courses laid down in the BCI curriculum, you have to have those optional, the basket of courses. And mention was made about Town B, Town C. So you have to think whether a Town C needs a lecture on cyber law or on telecommunication law or say competition law. Why can't we have the laws relating to forest, tribal rights, fisheries, etc. in Town B or C, where a student after acquiring the law degree is more likely to use that. And in that context, it is important to hire the faculty which are former experts or practitioners of that law in the form of adjunct faculty. You must know the difference between a guest faculty, a visiting faculty, and adjunct faculty. Now, adjunct faculty is different than the normal faculty in the sense that a police DSP or a DIG may be employed to take certain lectures to teach, say, criminal procedure code, because he has practiced that. And like that, somebody connected who's a jailer or who's an income tax officer, it is for the law colleges and those who are sitting here managing law colleges, for them, hire adjunct faculty. Now that is important. Another very important thing is that there is no getting away from English. हिंदी का और जितनी भी प्रादेशिक भाषाएं हैं उनका ज्ञान बहुत आवश्यक है, लाभप्रद है. लेकिन ये जो बात हो रही है ग्लोबल सिनेरियो, the original literature and the legal principles are all in English. You do not have original work, you will not find in Hindi or in Marathi or Bangla. तो यदि आपको विश्व स्तर पर हमारे लीगल प्रोफेशनल्स आने हैं, जिस प्रकार के मैनेजमेंट वाले आ रहे हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वाले आ रहे हैं, ट्रेड कॉमर्स आ रहा है, तो वी कैनॉट हैव इंडिया acquiring the front stage in global leadership with third-rate law professionals. Our law professionals also have got to be of global standard. और इसके लिए आवश्यक है, kindly watch the videos. There are more than 30 videos on my YouTube channel where Fali Nariman is speaking, and he makes it very clear that all basic fundamental legal concepts are there in English. हिंदी में केवल उनका अनुवाद है. तो यदि आपको ओरिजिनल वर्क देखना है तो आपको अंग्रेजी का ज्ञान होना आवश्यक है. इसके साथ ही साथ यहाँ पर मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि मूट कोर्ट की बहुत आजकल परंपरा है, फैशन है, मूट हो रहा है. लेकिन मेरी दृष्टि में मूट से ज़्यादा महत्व है ट्रायल कोर्ट का, मॉक ट्रायल. मूट कोर्ट जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा, जो आपने 10th और 12th क्लास में डिबेट की, उससे बहुत ज़्यादा अंतर नहीं है उनमें, except that you keep saying your lordship, that's all. You must know mock trial as to how the Indian Evidence Act is practiced, how a witness is examined, cross-examined, re-examined, how a document is produced before the court. Is the evidence of a child, deaf and dumb witness admissible? ये सब कहाँ सीखेंगे आप? इसके लिए मॉक ट्रायल की आवश्यकता. तो मेरा ये सुझाव है, यहाँ पर जो लॉ फैकल्टी बैठी है और स्टूडेंट्स अपने आप में भी काफ़ी जिम्मेदार हैं कि आप ये ट्रायल किस तरह से होता है ये करिए। आप जजेस को, रिटायर्ड जजेस को बुलाइए और उनसे कहिए कि साहब एक कोई छोटा सा चोरी का मुकदमा है। I had designed a problem, say, on a ragging of a student, and I said कि both for prosecution and defense, what are the defense available in the case of a ragging in a university? इस तरह की चीजें सोच करके आप करिए। लीगल एड क्लिनिक आप शुरू करिए कि आपके कॉलेज में जो एक पियोन है, अगर उसका बच्चे का आधार कार्ड नहीं बना है तो किस तरह से आधार कार्ड बन सकता है। उसको लोन एप्लीकेशन देनी है, लोन की वेवर देनी है, तो उसकी आप सहायता करिए कि किस तरह से वो अपनी याचिका बना सकता है। तो ये चीज़ें जबकि लॉ को ऑपरेशन में आप करना चाहेंगे, यस कॉर्पोरेट लॉ इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, लेकिन कॉर्पोरेट लॉ तभी इम्पॉर्टेंट है अगर आप जानना चाहते हैं आईपी में, अगर आपने पढ़ा है कॉपीराइट लॉ, पेटेंट्स क्या हैं, और उसमें देखा है कि मस्ट नो, शुड नो, कुड नो, तब जब आप कॉर्पोरेट लॉ के लिए नौकरी के लिए किसी कॉर्पोरेट लॉ फर्म में जाएंगे और आपसे एक बेसिक सवाल पूछा जाएगा, अगर आप उसका उत्तर देने की स्थिति में नहीं हैं तो आपको ज़्यादा आशा नहीं कर सकते। और आजकल बहुत ही प्रतियोगिता का ज़माना है, इट्स अ कॉम्पिटिटिव वर्ल्ड, आफ्टर ऑल द नंबर ऑफ दोज जॉब्स आर लिमिटेड। So therefore, while in law college, if you think that you can go for and get absorbed in a firm practicing in competition law or in taxation or in transfer pricing or advertising law, अगर आपने वो पढ़ा ही नहीं है लॉ, तो कॉर्पोरेट में आपको किस तरह से आपको जॉब मिलेगा। तो ये भी, और जब तक कि आपने उसकी प्रैक्टिस नहीं की, वहाँ आप गए नहीं, तो विश्व स्तर पर किस तरह से भारत आगे पहुंचेगा। तो उसके लिए आवश्यकता है कि हमारे विधि के जो स्टूडेंट हैं, छात्र हैं, अध्यापक हैं, वो भी विश्व स्तर के हों। ये मुझसे सवाल पूछा गया था जब मैं यहाँ पर एमिटी यूनिवर्सिटी में था। द वाइस चांसलर आस्क्ड ऑल हेड्स ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशंस वन डे दैट which college will you say is the world class university? And the answer was that a world-class institution is one which produces world-class students. If you have faculty who are Nobel Prize winners, but your students are third-rate, you are no good. So a global standard institution is one which produces students of global international standards. और उसके लिए आपको तैयारी करनी है, और ये एक टीम वर्क है छात्रों और अध्यापकों के बीच में, तभी हम आगे आ पाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir. I guess we'll have one last statement with Meera ma'am and before we...
I just want to add what sir said, about the exposure to the trial courts. So even if you are in a corporate and you are writing any contract, once you have written, you have to think from the litigant point of view that whether I have full proof contract or not. And you have to think like a litigator. You can do that only if you have the exposure towards that. And secondly, I would say that there is, because today we live in a virtual world. So there is a huge important, if there are some international university exchange programs held by the law colleges where they can understand what is like, if some cyber crime has come, somebody sitting in Philippines is accessing to your credit card or your data, how you have to cater that, how you have to fight it out, that. I think that is one thing which I think the colleges have already started, but it is required now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And with this, I would be concluding this session. Before I conclude, I'll request each one of you to give a big round of applause for the wonderful panel that we have today. Thank you so much, Nilen sir. Thank you so much, Vijay sir. Thank you so much, Neera ma'am. And just to conclude this session, and it is my duty as a moderator for this session, that to answer to what Vidhi Utsav has rightly done, are we on a right track was a question. Post this session, I can say yes, we are on a right track. Sooner, later, and I do not know where the aim and where the destination is all about, and I'll say that why. The destination for me, or destination for Nilen sir, or destination for Vijay sir, or destination for Neera ma'am could be something. But what we are going to do away is to pass the baton to this young, lovely, legal, educative minds out here to carry it to another extent and then pass on to the baton. The purpose of legal education is to ignite the minds and to change lives. The purpose of legal education is to ignite that candle, and from that candle, how the other candles are getting lit. With this, thank you so much for my lovely panelists out here. It was a great session. Many inputs for me as a legal educator as well, and much more for my audience, the young legal minds out here. Thank you so much.